Two people had a really, really nice date. Both told me they were just going to meet for sort of an hour or two. They spent 5, 6 hours together. And both of them really were looking forward to meet again. And one of them came to me and said, yeah, it was great. We had an amazing time. But, and it started with a long list of what may not work.
Welcome to Challenges of a Matchmaker. I am your host, Shai Tesler, and I am excited to have you watching today. For those who are new to the channel, Challenges of a Matchmaker is a series which we sit down with matchmakers and relationship experts to discuss the real challenges behind the work. In every episode, we explore three areas: awareness and coaching, helping people recognize when they actually need guidance, preserving relationship, why new relationships often fall apart, and what does it take to make them last. And the last is operational, the behind the scenes challenges involved in running a matchmaking business. My guest today is Boris, Soulmate Matchmaking, the innovating LGBTIQ plus matchmaker based in Germany, covering Europe and the world. Boris, thank you for being here. For those who are new to your work, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, Shai. Thank you for having me. My name is Boris, and I'm one of the founders of Soulmate Matchmaking. We're based in Germany, but we reach out across Europe and also worldwide. We are specializing in the LGBTIQ plus community, particularly because we felt there was a gap in the market. The community is underserved and has specific requirements. Like, obviously, we're all humans, so everyone is different, but this community has some additional challenges that we are working on to overcome and to support them in finding the right partner.
Thank you. What do you mean when you say by innovative?
We, my business partner Christine and myself are generally very creative individuals. She comes from a background of headhunting. My background is in economics, but I'm also very creative. So we find tailor-made solutions and we come up with new ideas to raise awareness, to find the right partners for people. For example, one of the things we do is make specific search videos for clients. If we don't have a suitable candidate or it's a very specific search, then we can sort of offer individualized solutions. We also do almost headhunting like searches for the right partner. So we don't just talk to people, find out who they are, which is obviously standard to get to know them, but we also take the time to look at the best approach to find somebody if we haven't got anyone and if we know it's a demanding challenge, the search. So we focus on the results and how we can get there. It's very individual searches. Obviously, everybody's got their own requirements, but it's easier to match a gay man with a gay man when their interests, their searches, etc., come together. Whereas if you have a gay man who wants to start a family, that's a much more individual search. Though we have actually attracted quite a few men that are looking to start families, but there's additional challenges, and it's not just the location where they're based, but also what they're expecting, what they're looking to find, what their plans for the future are. So we can offer tailor-made solutions and help them be successful in their search.
Okay. You want to tell me more, a little bit more?
Yes, I mean, for example, I mean, this topic I've just brought up is because it's come up quite frequently, and I've adopted with my partner two kids myself about 10 years ago. Um, and so I know how it is for two men to start a family. Obviously, there's different pathways, there's surrogacy, so you need to maneuver the legal framework. but it's not a straightforward search because biologically you can't have kids. So you need to add the extra steps, and you need a partner who's committed to the same
Yeah.
goals, to the same long-term plan, because you don't have kids just for a 2-year relationship. And that's something that people are struggling to find online, because if they on dating apps, they swipe left, they swipe right, but to find somebody who's committed, who's really serious about where they want to get to, we sort of help people to pre-select candidates that are serious, that have similar goals, obviously similar background, interests, values, all these things that are required, but also have a sort of a perspective for a similar future together.
Got it. So in the like when it, if I understand correct, it's more complex in terms of search criteria.
It Many times it is, yes. There's obviously straightforward searches, but there is also very specific ones, and we are prepared to sort of go the extra mile to support clients if they have a more demanding search.
Okay, got it. That answered the question. Thank you. Let's jump into the questions. And the first
Mhm.
one is challenges and awareness. And my first question is, what is the most common challenges you see people struggle with today?
Quite often, it's sort of the gap between expectations and reality. Sort of people come to us many situations because they are frustrated with online dating, with dating apps, with algorithms suggesting who they should meet. And they come to us because they heard about offline matchmaking. Many people don't even know about it. That's sort of for us one of the biggest challenges, because nowadays people don't remember that service actually exists, and it's actually attracting a lot of attention when you go sort of into smaller um, circles, because we can solve what dating apps often can't solve. But then people come from dating apps where they have a selection of thousands and 10,000s of profiles. So their expectations is you're going to present to them 100 potential matches, which is obviously far from the reality, because we pre-select, we match their preferences, their search criteria. But you still have people that come with very unrealistic expectations. And sort of you need to bridge the gap between expectations and reality. For example, if you have a 60-year-old man looking for a 20-year-old man as a long-term partner, there is usually some discrepancies, and you need to sort of go deeper where this is coming from, what's behind it, and what motivates this search. Or people that are geographically restricted, whereas you have a partner that sort of could be a perfect match, but he's or she is 300 kilometers away. And luckily, with many people, we have the openness that said, I'll listen to you, I'm going to listen to the suggestion, and then I can make up my mind. But some people come with very, very fixed mindset, and sort of you need to help to open them up. But this is something that quite regularly comes up in the first interview, and that's where we have to challenge the expectations. Because if somebody is too restricted, too limited, then we sometimes recommend they do coaching before we start the search, or we sort of do it hand in hand. Sort of
Yeah.
simultaneous, we start the coaching in parallel with the matchmaking.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like you say, a lot of them come with the list of endless requests, and they got used to it because the dating app give the impression that there are endless options, and it's not true. And then they come to a matchmaker, and then you realize you can find your partner with much limited option. People that come from dating app, or at least what dating app teaches us, it's to look for the wrong things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can second that. It's very simple. People have, like, for example, age is a big thing. They have clear expectations. The partner mustn't be older or can only be 1 year older, because very often people actually come and say, I look 10 years younger. So the partner has to be 10 years younger. And in reality, age is just a number. When you speak to them and you have somebody in mind already that sort of embodies what they're describing that they're looking for, and the only discrepancy is the age. Obviously, we're still humans, so I cannot guarantee that when somebody comes to mind that the chemistry is also right. But a lot of it in the matchmaking business is down to feeling, to getting to know the clients and who is a good match for them and sort of what helps them grow together. So if it's simply down to the age, we sort of really challenge our clients and support them also with coaching, because if they said, I have always dated younger women, or I've always dated younger men, and that's why it has to be this way, I don't find them attractive. Because, I mean, nowadays there's people that look after themselves, that do biohacking, that do all sorts of that exercise, and you don't necessarily see what their age is. It's also a lot
yeah,
about their attitude, how they present, how they think, how they live.
yeah,
So that's one area where coaching is important. But when you drill down further, many times it comes down to self-respect and self-confidence, or you find dating patterns that they have. Sort of, they always go for the unavailable person, or they have been
mm,
in relationships where abuse was present. All of that comes up, and then you sort of have to obviously also make a call whether coaching is sufficient or they actually need a therapist to support them first.
because there is so many areas that someone cannot be ready for a relationship. Because I was thinking before when then I was thinking to ask you about, okay, like people looking for lists, and then you tell them, and then they realize that the list doesn't matter and they need to connect with someone because the relationship is about the connection with the person. And I wanted to ask you
Absolutely.
what makes people see this shift, and then you said another thing just now, and there is so many areas where people need coaching and guidance in this crazy dating the world of dating apps.
Yeah. I feel what we encounter quite regularly is a lack of accountability. Sort of people look outside of themselves to find the answer, rather than having some time for introspection and trying to go deeper. And that's usually, we can work on that in coaching sessions, where we sort of go to where the actual challenge comes from. But it feels like that's sort of in a context of what's happening globally at the moment. That's sort of a lot of that. I mean, if you look at what's going on in the world, accountability doesn't seem to be high on the list.
No.
So, and it's also down to personal accountability. And that's where we challenge people. And sometimes you have to have a frank conversation and say, I can try and match all those boxes. That doesn't mean that this is the right person for you. It doesn't mean that it solves your search, your issues. I would approach it this way, and we feel here you need some support through coaching. And majority of people will open up to it, especially if they had a few dates and sort of certain patterns repeat.
And the nice things that you, as a matchmaker, you have access to both sides.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is interesting. People, at some point, you say they're waking up, or some of them, I guess not all of them, they're waking up to see reality in a different way, or at least the correct way. Like, how long does it take? What make and what makes that shift?
That's a very good question. It takes, I think the time it takes is individually different. It's sort of where people are coming from, what they've experienced in the past, and where their trigger points are. Because especially in the beginning, when you start dating someone and you're sort of starting to get to know them, and you don't know their triggers, they don't know your triggers. So you may say something and the other people is completely offended. Um, Obviously, cultural differences could be part of that, or just different personal experiences. The As people start to get to know each other better, sort of the early stages of a relationship, how long it takes them to recognize their patterns, that's very individual. Some people come to us and say, I'm coming to you because I've had two long-term relationships with this pattern. So I'm coming to you now because I do not want to repeat that mistake, because it seems that I make these choices. There's an underlying pattern. So they actually are fully aware of it and then are ready to investigate and to work on that pattern. Whereas other people, they tell you you speak about their relationship history, and you can see there's a pattern in there and they're completely unaware of it. So you need to sort of ask the probing questions. And then some people completely shut down, and that might be people you can't work with at this point in time when they're not ready to go there. And that's okay. It's Everybody's got their own process, their own timeline, their own timings. And others start to realize when you actually show them, the moment you bring it out in the open and you speak it out, they are more open and ready to work on it.
Thank you. If there is one message or takeaway around this challenge that you think is most important, what will it be?
Take time. If you're recently out of a relationship, or if you have sort of repeat um, relationship breakups, take time to and invest in getting the support. Really take the time and get somebody, a professional, to support you, to look into the causes, the patterns that affect your past relationship. It's easy to say, oh, I don't want to spend money on that, or I don't want to do that, um, but it's worth the money. And you can start with as little as one session to see if it sort of points you in the right direction, and then do some work yourself, and then get some additional support. And investing in yourself is one of the best investments you can do.
Yeah, so agree with that. Thank you. Let's move to the second part, which is
Mhm,
preserving relationship. And this
mhm.
part, I was single most of my life. And I know for me, relationship last 1 month, 2 months. So what are the most common mistakes that you see that new couples make when they start a relationship?
One thing that's very common, people look actually for a reason why it's not going to work, because they've had this experience that their relationships do not work out. So even at the beginning, when they get to know somebody new, they're sort of looking for potential mistakes. I've had that recently. Some two people had a really, really nice date. Both told me they were just going to meet for sort of an hour or two. They spent 5, 6 hours together. And both of them really were looking forward to meet again. And one of them came to me and said, yeah, it was great. We had an amazing time. But, and it started with a long list of what may not work. I said, yep, I hear you. And you could find a reason for every single relationship. For every person you meet, you can start making a list of things that do not work. But how about you focus on what actually worked well, what you enjoyed, what could work out? And that's sort of, it's many people in that situation require a shift of mindset and looking into a mirror and having someone reflect back at them what they're actually doing. So it becomes obvious and they can't sort of avoid it and keep doing it.
Yeah, I love
That's
it.
that's quite a typical one. And that obviously as a relationship progresses, there's fears coming up. There is obviously past experiences creeping back. There is, you think about obviously one moment you have rose tinted glasses and then you see issues coming up. And there's always something that will come up because it's two people, it's two human beings with their own experiences that are getting to know each other. There's bound to be things that come up. We're not all just like Lego blocks stuck together and it works
Yeah.
forever. So it needs to be, the timing needs to be right, the framework needs to be right, and then you can work on most things. And if there's something that really transpires that's an obstacle that you can't overcome, then acknowledge it, but speak about it.
Do this together, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you are not like
If you're
oh,
trying to build a relationship together, you need to discuss it.
I love this one, Boris. This is beautiful.
Mm,
It's
thank you.
it's like discussed from the beginning,
Yeah,
speaking up like you are dating for I don't know 1 year.
yeah, absolutely. And one of the biggest things, obviously, in the beginning is to avoid politics and religion.
Yeah, yeah. I can remember those dates
Yeah,
when things can go sideways really, really fast.
yeah, or downhill.
Yeah, yeah. So another question, let's say you introduced a couple
Hmm.
and they start dating. So at what point a matchmaker step in? At what point matchmaker going out? How often does a matchmaker show up in a new relationship?
Well, for us, obviously, we make the match, and then the two people in the match will have a phone conversation and then meet up. And once they've met for the first time, I speak to both of them. Normally, I ask them sort of once you've met the other person or you've met them twice, give me a ring, let me know, so we can speak about it and see how it's going. And that's when we obviously ask them, can they see themselves? So we bring people together and they're matched, they have their first phone call, and then they meet in person. So once they've met once or twice in person, I'll ring them up and say, so how was it? Ask them to tell me about their experiences. And that's usually when they sort of, some people say it's amazing, we're going to meet again. Others will say, oh, I'm unsure, but I'm willing to see them again, to work out if something can grow from it. And that's the interesting part because sometimes it's about communication and it's just a misunderstanding or people give off mixed signals. And that's where we can step in and sort of clarify things and add our expertise. Or if it's something that's come up in the person that's personal or that's related to their history, then we can also obviously offer coaching very, very quickly to sort of support them. They don't have to share that with the other person. But if we see there's potential and there's something coming up, like I've had this situation with a client, and she said to me, it's exactly the same patterns, and this is keeps coming up, and I know I want to move forward with her, but this keeps coming up. So we had a session, and a month later, so they both officially told us they're in a relationship now. And
Oh,
that's obviously the outcome we would like. But otherwise, we just have sort of that call and let them continue. If everything is going well, we let them continue and then check back 4 weeks, 6 weeks later, if nothing's coming back, because that's usually a positive sign.
yeah. So it's basically based on the client needs. There isn't like a protocol that you're following. I guess after the date you contact them, but like there isn't a protocol that say, okay, it's 2 days, 3 days, 4 days.
No, because we are not involved in arranging the date. So sometimes we don't know when they're actually meeting in person.
If there is one key message or lesson that you think that is most important for clients that start dating and trying to succeed in a new relationship, what would it be?
Be open, be clear, and be ready to ask for support if you need it. But also communicate your needs and your boundaries. If somebody's overstepping your boundaries and that's an issue, you need to speak about it.
Got it. So communication is a big thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Let's move to the last part,
Mhm.
which is it's like the most interesting part for me since I'm developing a CRM. So
Yeah.
I'm learning so much from this.
Mhm.
And the next part is operationals. I know it's tedious, it's hard, and it's a lot of work running a matchmaking business. Can you tell us about how the work look like, and also what are the biggest challenges that you are facing?
Well, generally, the way we start, we have sort of an initial conversation with interested people, and if it sounds like they are a good match to work with us, then we set up an interview. And in that interview, we learn obviously a lot of personal information, a lot of intimate details, and things that they want to keep private. So they speak quite openly to us about past relationships, about health issues potentially, and certain things that they want us to share with the potential partner, but also other parts that we need to keep private, that they want us to know, but do not want us to share with the partner. So for us, obviously, we need to be very clear on communication when we do a match. But obviously, firstly, after the interview, we have all the contracts, we have forms that they need to fill in, and then we create the client profile. So there's a lot of administrative work going into it in that phase until from first interview until we're ready to make the first match.
Got it. And what is the most challenging part of this work? What is the most tedious part of this work?
Sort of setting up the client profile, the internal profile, making sure all the details are correct, verifying against so that the sort of the be it the age, be it all the personal details that are correct. So double checking everything is in order and making sure, obviously, it's very clear what information, if there's any information that's not to be shared with potential partners, that's kept private. I mean, privacy is obviously a very big thing in our industry, as you're
Yeah,
aware of.
yeah.
So that's number one, I would say.
Can you tell me more thing like what you find it the more tedious in doing matchmaking work? What is the part that you find it harder?
I think as I said, the initial setup, sort of everything, putting everything into the context and maintaining sort of, obviously, when you interview somebody, you already have some ideas around potential matches. So that's actually the fun part, I have to say. Sort of when you can sort of get everything ready and you're excited to introduce them. So it's mostly from my side is sort of invoicing. That's more tedious. Um, Sort of getting all the forms, profiles, everything ready. Everything that's sort of administration related.
Got it. Thank you. This is helpful.
Mhm. I think for me, what's the most important part is to raise awareness amongst people that matchmakers are a real option.
Yeah.
Many will have sort of preconceived notions that that's something my grandparents would have done, or I didn't know it still exists. And particularly in this day and age, it can help people sort of economize a lot of time. And when you look at how much time people spend on average on dating apps, um, getting ghosted, getting frustrated from potential people not responding, all of that. We can take all of that out. Also, privacy. We They don't have to put themselves, their personal data on a dating app.
Yeah.
Um, we provide absolute privacy and can match them with the right candidates. And thirdly, obviously, we support the whole process with coaching, with one-to-one consultations, all of that. So, and sometimes people have expectations from what they know from TV programs that it's super expensive and they might not be able to afford it. But there's always different price points and different packages. So it's worth having, if you're looking for a partner, it's always worth evaluating all the options for you.
Got it. And it's really hard today, right? Like, if I was when I was single, if someone told me, "Hey, do this course or do this, go to Matchmaker, go to a coach, a dating coach," and for me, my perspective, I was single for so many years,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking at the social image of this. I didn't look on the outcome, and I think for me, it was basically just, I wasn't ready for a relationship. It's like for me, it was one of my blockages. But it's not true, because now that I am really really close to this world, and I'm speaking with so many matchmakers, and I'm reading so many posts. There's so much to learn, and real relationship, it's really achievable, and people are so sad. There is so much single people that don't know that this exists.
Yeah. I agree with you, and I think the way our society has changed over the last years, decade, has contributed significantly from use of social media, mobile phones. People go to a coffee shop today and they sit on their phone. They do not flirt with the person at the table next to them. They don't on public transport. They are all. I know for myself. I put my AirPods in. I have my phone or my laptop. I do some work, and I have an awareness of what's around me, but I can see lots of people completely shut off from the outside. So how can you meet somebody if you're not communicating with people around you? And particularly for younger people, it's I mean, we have noticed a lot of younger people that used to be, they met their partner at university or when they started a job or going out. They are facing severe challenges. So it's not from just older people that do not go out much, but we have many people coming to us in their 20s and 30s nowadays. And that's shifted quite recently because they are disappointed from the dating apps. They're frustrated. They their friends tell them to do this, their friends tell them to do that, and they see other people and they want a relationship, yet they are not in the right surroundings where they can actually meet someone. I've got people who come for coaching because they've tried everything from dance lessons to cooking lessons to speed dating, literally. And you think they're in their early 30s, attractive, successful, everything. You'd think a perfect candidate, and still they don't meet anything. And in that case, it was came out in coaching. There was generational trauma behind it that they weren't aware of. So every person they met was unavailable.
Yeah, and it's not only them, it's like others, it's everyone.
It's millions
It's
and millions
most
of
of
people.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And obviously, if you look at the current world situation, it feels challenging. So for most people, they would be actually much more calm and settled if they had a partner and could actually share this and share their daily life. It would sort of contribute. I don't want to say world peace, but it would certainly make the world a slightly more peaceful place.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I missed that a lot of years in my life.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
changed it for you?
Developing Una,
Hmm.
but actually, like my project started with developing the app, which is app for couples. And I did a lot of research of how to solve this problem. And during refining the app, refining the solution,
Hmm.
refining the commitment of one relationship, it's also changed my perspective. And I was in a relationship before this one, and it's ended with me inside the hot oil, not even the finger, all of me. It was so painful,
Hmm.
and my current partner, it's like it's a good relationship. It's a good, healthy relationship. It's a good place for me. I haven't experienced anything like it, and I didn't have any relationship before that. That it's so supportive and understanding, and it's only growing every day. And
Hmm.
the more the time pass, it's like it's more secured, it's more good, it's more
Nice.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just had to travel halfway across the world for it.
Yeah, to find her. Find her. Yeah.
But and
Yeah.
this day and age, that's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Boris.
Thank you so much, Shai.
Boris, thank you so much for joining today to Challenges of a Matchmaker. I learned a lot. Um, if people want to find you and what you are doing, where they can find you.
They can find us online. Actually, many people find us through AI. I'm not going to say the website. It's better you put that in the text because it's a German word. So it's soulmate hyphen partnervermittlung.com. So soulmatematchmaking.com. You can find us on Instagram, on TikTok, and obviously through our website. You can find me personally on LinkedIn, how we met. And that's sort of ask your AI and they will point you to us.
Got it. And I will put all the link in the description below, in the
Yeah.
description of the video. And thank you so much, Boris.
Thank you, Shai. I really enjoyed that, getting to know you and having this chat about matchmaking.
Me as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.